topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to Mindset Marketing Mastery, the show that brings you the top speakers in the marketing and video industry. With your host, Marie Mason.
Hi, everyone, and I am just super excited to have the show this week. Oh my gosh, always check the background, guys. That's going to be my first tip for the week. So anyway, I just wanted to say we have a great guest for you today, and Steve's going to be here in a little bit. But before we get started, Pliny Phoenix's birthday is on the day we're recording this, so we're doing a little bit shift of schedule because of various different things happening this week. So, Pliny, happy birthday! You're another year wiser. So, congratulations, and have fun with your family, friends, and make those positive memories. Oh my gosh, 2021 is a year to make some really good memories. Okay, so just keep that in mind. We have an amazing show, but I'm going to give you first the quick tip of the week because that's what we're doing. We're doing like marketing tips for the month of July, and then we're going to shift gears and give you a different perspective in August. So, and oh my gosh, um, really, what is the best tip that I'm going to give you? I have sort of been putting this together on the fly today because we had a lot of last minute changes and it's just part of going with the flow, right? You gotta have to understand that not everything is perfect and you just kind of have to, what's the word I'm looking for? Be flexible. There you go. So I am going to give you a practical tip and I'm not quite sure what to give you. There's so many practical tips I can give you. So basically, you want to be able to, what's the best one to do? I think the best part of it is not the pitch because we've already done the pitch. We've already done a lot of things. The best part is the marketing. I think the next piece is when you're marketing your webinars, um, you're really going to want to make sure that you have a clear process to do that. I'm going to give you some tips for that. One, you need to really have a good short scripts that doesn't sound salesy, that sounds like you're having a conversation because people want real, authentic people that they're talking with, not just a copy and paste. And if you're copying and paste something that says first name on it, I've seen it happen. That's definitely screams sales, like someone's doing it for you. Make sure you have that first name in there or in the first and last name because that indicates that, okay, then it's a real person, right? So you always want to address the person properly. You always want to make sure you have that courtesy in place. You also want to make sure when marketing that you have a action link to give them. What is the next step? Are they going on your calendar? Or are they getting your free offer? What does that next step look like? So when you start to market, make sure you have the end result in mind on where you want to take your client. Do you want to from like they say they finally had several conversations with you and now you're ready to sit there and make some sort of commitment to work with you of some sort, whether it's to um, be on a discovery call or grab your free offer or grab your low priced offer, whatever it is that looks like to you, maybe even it's to grab a spot on your webinar. Whatever that end result is, make sure you're clear on that and the messaging behind that, and maybe we might even throw some tips in later in the week. But one of the things that my guest speaker is going to be talking about is, oh my gosh, it's a perfect lead in for today's. It's crafting and creating that irresistible offer. So that's a perfect way of leading into today's topic. So Welcome back to the Marketing Mindset Mastery Radio Show with your host, Marie Mason, and my lovely co-host, Pliny Phoenix, will be back next week along with another guest. So this week's guest, I'm so excited to share with you, is Steve Martel, and he is a social media marketing consulting and lead generation, and also has a business consulting business from Canada. So, woohoo, we're on the same continent, so that's awesome. And then Steve helps B2B service businesses book leads with LinkedIn. So, getting inbound inquiries on LinkedIn is really important. And when I was talking about the scripts, those are really meant for like LinkedIn more than anything else, but you can use them with Facebook too. However, those work really well with LinkedIn. So today's topic is creating and crafting irresistible offers. Oh, so love this topic. So take it away, Steve. Are you here?
Wow. Marie, how are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you? I kept that short and sweet for the first couple minutes.
Cool. All right. I might want to share my screen at some point. Would I be able to do that?
We don't have that because we also are doing the radio show, and the radio station won't be able to see that. So unfortunately, you can't share your screen, though you can share it with me later if you want.
Secrets. No, that's fine. Awesome. Great to be here.
It's awesome to have you. So, oh my gosh. Tell me what got you started? How's your journey? How'd you get started in your business? I always like to know the background.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was a mechanical engineer for a dozen or so years. I had started dabbling in 2008 and self-help, started a coaching business. That didn't work out. It was my first business I started that didn't really pay the bills. My wife and I we had to basically sell our house because we were spending way too much money because I wasn't working anymore.
Right.
I later went back and started working. So in engineering, as a mechanical engineer, I worked a lot in construction. So I knew a lot of construction companies. And we came to a point where they needed help with social media because it became an awareness like, oh yeah, like I can recruit with social media. I can recruit with other platforms like Facebook, Instagram, which is amazing. And so we started this whole recruitment process of these construction companies, and we're getting like 40, 50, 70 applications a month coming in through social media just from doing some basic marketing. And I realized, oh, I'm onto something here. So I worked with 4 construction companies doing that. That developed into, that gave me the confidence actually to go and start providing other services for other companies. And along the way, I kind of always kept coming back to LinkedIn. And over the last 8 months or so, developed a software with a gentleman that I'm really excited to talk a little bit about today and what makes us unique, because of 99% of the companies that do provide LinkedIn sort of lead gen services are not doing this. And what's exciting about it is that it gives you a lot of room to do scale, get very targeted messages into the right person so that you get conversations, fill your webinars, build Facebook groups, get people on your podcast. Like I'm not talking like a couple people in a webinar. I'm talking about, 20 people a week going booked for your podcast, or, and we're doing so much more with it. I'm letting my clients that I just signed 2 clients yesterday. They're helping me innovate in ways to do this, because we're just basically we have the targeted way to get traffic. So anyways, long story short is my background in engineering, pairing me up with the software developer was actually a really great fit, because it gave me a chance to solve a problem that, I don't think anyone else has really solved. At least I haven't heard about or anyone using it. So, and if you ever think about LinkedIn as a platform, when was the last time you got a group message? Something to think about. Probably haven't gotten maybe one a month. And that's why I'm saying this is so new, is because very few people are using it.
Yep. I don't think I've really gotten group messages, though it seems like several people sent out what seemed like group messages. But yeah, it's more for asking them if they want to be on a webinar or something. That's usually the ones I usually get for group messages. Yeah. But other than that, that's the only time I ever really see that happening. So it is a very unique perspective. So it sounds to me like you are really passionate in lead generation and sales. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And by, is it definitely because of the requirement to be in business. If I don't have money coming in and generating sales, then I won't be able to keep doing it. You know, so part of it was you know, a selfish need, because I was like, okay, I need to stay in business and I need to keep doing this. But more importantly, like, and this is something that a lot of people, I've never said this on a podcast, I've said no to more people probably in the last year than I have in the last 4 years, to people that wanted to work with me, because I knew ahead of time, I'm like, I can't really help them. So there's a lot of people we can't help too. And, you know, especially people that are not B2B. And because of that, I say no to them, because I authentically can't say yes and take, I feel like I'm taking the money as opposed to receiving the money from clients. So
That's good. That means you're real. You're not out to grab somebody's money. You're there to
no,
really help them and focus on them. And that's so rare, because most people are out there for the money. They're not there to help their clients. And well, I shouldn't say most people, because I would say more of a 10% would be about like that. And I think more
there's a
like
lot of
the
it.
maybe 10 to 15% then. So about between 80 to 95% of the people really do want to help their clients. But, you know, sometimes they don't know the best way to market them, and they don't know the best way to lead generation. And so that's why they don't have the kind of business they want to have. So that's what we're going to talk about, is how to get your business built properly through lead generation. Is that correct? Is what I'm saying, as crafting in the
Yeah,
crafting your message part?
let's
Okay.
dive in.
I love it. Yeah, let's go. I'm ready to roll. Can you tell? So anyway, so the first question of the day, well, technically on the topic, is how to fill your calendar with 20 of your dream clients each week, which you did mention in your how you got to this and stuff. And I love how you worded that. So let's go and dive into that great topic.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is going to be a bit long-winded answer, but I am going to teach and share a lot, because I've had a lot of different variations. Like I said, I've been doing this almost 10 years, 2021, over 10 years.
Wow.
So there's, first I'll share some options, what there are out there for lead gen, because I've done
Perfect.
quite a few of them. And then I'll talk why I believe LinkedIn is the best one. Okay.
And even before then, tell us what lead gen is, because some people might not even know what that is if they're just getting started with it. Is that okay? We'll start at the beginning.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, let's start.
So leads to me is not getting someone to opt in to your list. Leads is not someone sending you necessarily a message on Facebook. A lead to me is, and let me qualify this. So I've had over 1,000 people take this specific action. It's like when they go to your calendar, they fill in a form, and then in the form, there's 2 qualifiers. Obviously, they give you your contact information, phone number, that sort of stuff. They might even tell you what country they're from. But more importantly, they answer these 2 questions. 1, if they're in business, how urgent is it for you to get the result, in this case, leads, for your business? How important is it for you to scale your business on a scale of 1 to 10? And they tell me it's either 1 to 7, 8, 9, or 10. If someone answers that question 8, 9, or 10, that tells me they have urgency. And that's what I want to know before I talk to them. Because if they don't have urgency and they're a 1 to 7, that's someone that's probably not going to spend any money with me personally in the next 6 months. But if they're an 8, 9, or 10 out of 10 in urgency, what that tells me is that they're going to buy in the next 7 to 21 days, like definitely within the next month, but usually the next couple of weeks. That's the first thing. That's a lead. Secondly, when they fill in that form, they tell me, they answer the second question. The second question is, are you willing to invest money to generate new leads to scale your business? Yes, I'm willing to invest money if I see results, or no, I don't have any money. If someone says no, I started doing in the early days, this is a few years ago, I would start taking those calls. I'm like, what is a no person since I don't have any money? Their yes urgency, the urgency is really high, 8, 9, 10 out of 10 urgency, but no money. No money means they don't, and I had enough of these calls, so now it means I don't have $200 to like, I have nothing. So if you sell anything that's 1,000 or more, saying, having an appointment with someone who says no to that question is a waste of your time. I mean, you can take the calls. So that's what a lead is to me. Number one, and a lot of people, I'm helping a SaaS company. I have a couple SaaS companies we're helping. And I'm like, this is how I determine if they're leads. First of all, I need to know they have urgency. Number 2, I need to know they have a budget, they have money. And if they have those 2 things, I will definitely talk with them. Okay. So that's a lead. That's how I define a lead. So the question is, now how do you get them? There's lots of ways to get them. I'm going to share a few ways that I've used get them. Number one is spend money on Facebook ads. I don't know anyone that hasn't done that. It was in marketing, but this is the reason why I stopped running ads late last year, because this year, 2021, is the year of privacy. And what do I mean by that? Apple, out of all companies, was the first one to come out and say, we are no longer going to provide data back to Facebook about your behavior in order for them to optimize ads for you. And that's the first time this has happened in the history of Facebook ads, where Apple has decided in their iOS, and the updates already come out if you haven't updated your phone, and if you don't have an iPhone, it won't apply to you yet. I think it will go to all platforms possibly at one point. But Apple has decided to make this year the year of privacy, meaning if I don't want Facebook to track my behavioral data, what I click on, what my interests are, what I opt into, what I buy off my phone, then I have a permission to, I can say I don't want to give them permission to do that. And because of that, Facebook ads do not get optimized for lead generation, for opt-ins, for signing up for webinars off these phones, off Apple. And there's going to be some changes. And yes, Facebook will adapt their technology, but I just see that the age and the dawn of Facebook, for some reason, I feel like it's not over, but it's slowly dying a slow death. And there's probably a lot of people that are getting leads from Facebook right now. I'm just saying, when I ran Facebook ads, I would get people that were good leads, but then when I would talk to them, they would be a terrible fit.
Right.
And if you know what I mean by fit, like no sign of synchronicity. So I'm like, I just stopped running them there. LinkedIn, I get lots of people that are an amazing fit. So that's number one. Number two is I spent money on Google ads. The reason that Google ads, I personally believe, is in the same boat as Facebook ads is because, again, this is your privacy, and that change that Apple's making, which I think other platforms may adopt at some point, is going to disrupt the advertising model, and they have to find other ways to track your behavior. Okay. Now, other phones, if you're not using an Apple phone and you're using an Android, and you target customers who use Androids, then that's fine. Nothing has changed there. All I'm saying is that Facebook petitioned, Zuckerberg specifically petitioned very aggressively, running ads in the I think it was the New York Times, and to like basically get people to Facebook users and advertisers to basically petition against this change from Apple. But it's done. It's happened. It's already come out, and it's already on the phone. So those are two reasons why I don't use those modes anymore. Okay. Number three, the third one that I've done, I used a lot in the past, is joint ventures or launches. What do I mean by that? People mail and you mail for them. You have a mailing list, we mail for each other. Okay. I'm not totally against it. I'm just saying, here's some of the downfalls and why it's not my preferred method. Sometimes you'll mail for a JV, joint venture, and then they won't mail for you because you're small, right? You're small, little, you've got a list of 100 or 500 or 20 people, and they got 10,000, and then they don't mail for you. That has happened to me in the past. Number two, the people that are on the JV's list, when they mail for me, they're the wrong people. They might like what I have, and they might want to download my free lead magnet or opt into my list, but they're not like the right people for me. So the wrong people, is the wrong people. It doesn't matter. I don't want them on my list. Number three, there's this weird reciprocity that's built into these things. So it's like, if you mail for me, I'll mail for you, even if it's like 6 months later. And so you feel forced. It's not that you would feel forced. I felt forced. It feels like, oh, I got to do this, even though I know that their information is not as good as my information or whatever. There's not a natural, organic reciprocity. It's more forced. So those are the reasons why I used to do those things. I haven't done them as much in the past. I'm open to doing natural, organic reciprocity where it's not forced in someone. For example, I talked to a guy yesterday. He's like, can I leave you a recommendation on LinkedIn? We had such a nice conversation. I said, absolutely. He didn't become a client. He just wanted to do that. To me, that's more organic. That's not forced.
Right. Well, and that's what I really focus on with my clients. They're looking more for organic
Yep.
marketing because they're not in the position where they want to spend a whole lot of ad spend. And to be honest, I've had a couple of clients in the past try doing ad spend, and it wasn't really worth their time. And I know that what you said is true. It's Facebook has totally changed their algorithms, and it's totally different than what it was back in 2020 and even prior to 2020. So I think 2020 just changed everyone's way of doing business, including Facebook. So, yeah, LinkedIn's much better as far as going to target your market because it's more a professional platform.
Yep.
From my experience, because I've been doing LinkedIn marketing and pretty much for since 2019. And so I found that that's, in fact, probably 2018, really. And I really am loving how to connect with them because I get a lot of less. I don't get as many of the people like I call them the love sick puppy dogs or the vultures who kind of want money. So I get less of that on LinkedIn. I get more people, professionals who are really serious about growing their business. And that's what you're looking for, right? Is the people who are serious about growing your business. Could you tell us a little bit about that? I mean, it's a little bit separate
Yeah.
from what we have planned on. If you could summarize that in a couple of minutes, and then we'll have to go to commercial break.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, I was going to finish one of the other lead gen options I've used, but I mean, as
Okay.
far as
Oh, yeah. Finish that up first, and then we can always pick it up.
I'll answer your question after the break for sure.
Okay. So, okay,
Um,
perfect.
you know, like another thing that I've done is SEO, search engine optimization, which is okay, but I had my blog up to about 10,000 unique visitors a month, and it took me about a year to get there. So it takes a long time. It doesn't take like a couple of weeks. It's months, sometimes years. And this is the crazy thing with it is that Google can change the rules very quickly, especially if you're getting a lot of organic traffic. So in my case, I had like last December, the traffic on my blog went from like here to whatever it is now, I think 5,000 or 6,000 unique visitors to half. And I can't even tell you why. And then most of my traffic comes from Google. So it's not that I'm saying don't rely on just that source. That is what I'm saying. It's just too risky to me to be in business and rely on one place to get the traffic.
Right.
And it's not my preferred way because like I said, they have so much control that they can change the rules at any time. So now LinkedIn is a little bit different, and I can dive in different ways to use LinkedIn, but our preferred method. You just tell me how long I can keep going for, Marie.
I think we got one more minute. So then
Okay.
we got to then I got to do that message before our commercial break. So go for it.
So LinkedIn, groups, message second and third degree connections, unlimited leads, unlimited ways to nurture those leads, no sending invites to connect on LinkedIn, no messaging your first degree connections, no bots and risk getting your account shut down, no follow-up messages. It's only one message we send out. You only hear from a client or from me if I'm sending it out one time. You don't have to write your own copy, and there's no manual time consuming tasks. I'll talk about how that looks a little more, but that's kind of just to position and show you like what's possible with the process that we use for generating leads on LinkedIn.
Perfect. No, that was really fast. Yeah, I wrote it in our message there so you can pick up that question when we come back to the commercial break. But that was absolutely perfect, spot on. So I really want to thank our guest Steve Martel and I hope I pronounced it correct. Is it Martel?
That works.
Okay, just making sure I had it right. For sharing some amazing tips on how to craft an irresistible offer already. I mean, I feel like I'm drinking from a watering hose or a fire hose. Anyway, and we that's going to really help our audience grow their business on the Marketing Mindset Mastery radio show and super super important topic, so definitely stick around because Steve has agreed to hang out with us on the second half of the show, and I can't wait for him to share more great tips on how to and action steps that you can take to help grow your business through lead generation, which is super super important. I found a lot of success with that myself, and this is just going to make things even easier for all of us, so I appreciate that so much. So that ends this segment of our show. You're listening to the Marketing Mindset Mastery radio show with your host, Brave Mason, and our guest, Steve Martel. And we'll be right back. And you're going to go to a commercial break now.
We're taking a short break, and we'll be right back. You're listening to Marketing Mindset Mastery, the show that brings you the top speakers in the marketing and video industry, with your host, Marie Mason. The show is brought to you by Liberty Virtual Solutions. We work with business coaches and speakers to help them market and host their webinars and upsell their coaching programs and develop heart-centered relationships with their audience. Welcome back to the Marketing Mindset Mastery Show with your host, Marie Mason, a premier podcast that helps you master your marketing skills.
Oh, I love that beat. It just gets me. I'm like dancing every show. I feel like it makes me energized for the weekend too, doesn't it? So welcome back to the Marketing Mindset Mastery Radio Show with your host, Marie Mason, and our great guest, Steve Martel, who is a social media marketer. I guess it's marketing and consulting and lead generation and business consultant from Canada. And he'll have to tell us where from Canada too. And then Steve helps B2B services, business book leads with LinkedIn and getting inbound inquiries on LinkedIn as well. So today's topic is on creating and crafting irresistible offers. And oh my gosh, I felt like I was drinking out of a fire hose at the first section. So y'all better buckle up because take it away, Steve. We got more to come, right?
Okay, so is there something else? There was a question you asked me earlier that was off the beaten path. Did you want me to answer that first?
Yes, let's go dive onto that. So I think hopefully I remembered how I phrased it, but could you tell us about the organic target marketing on LinkedIn? And because we talked about how you said paid ads were a thing and up until 2020, and then the algorithms changed everything. So now you're leaning more towards content marketing. So I kind of want to paint a picture of what that looks like for people, because I know a lot of people are looking for organic marketing and content marketing. I'm thinking,
Okay.
Are they the same thing?
Yeah, they're different, definitely.
Okay.
They can be for sure. I mean, okay, so let me just say this. So organic, like we talked about, can be, posting content on any platform, Clubhouse, could be
Right.
Facebook, it could be wherever, and then that getting circulated, right? Now, LinkedIn's organic circulation for content is still pretty strong. It's still good. But here's the thing. If you're going to post content, you want to have the right people following you so that they see your content. And most people don't consider that. They're just going with the people that are in their network, a lot of times, which are colleagues or coworkers or people in the same industry. And if you've switched industries, they're probably not the right people to be marketing to. So we use a tool, and I can't share the screen, but it's Sales Navigator.
Right. Familiar with it.
It's free for 30 days. It's the most powerful thing you can do because you can pull up, like I've got this on my screen right now, but I've got US, I've got, for example, just in the professional training and coaching industry with companies from 0 employees to 10 employees who are the owner, partner, or CEO. I can tell you right now, there's 37,000 of them. And I can also tell you that out of that group, 8,500 of them posted on LinkedIn in the last 30 days, meaning they're active and they're on LinkedIn and they're checking their messages. And that's important because if you know that this audience is not only on LinkedIn, but they're also active on LinkedIn, well, that's the magic recipe because now you know that you can post content that is targeting those people. So you can invite 100 people a week to connect with you in your network. I highly recommend you use 2 tools, Sales Nav, Duck Soup. Duck Soup's $15, totally worth the money. And Sales Nav is free for the first 30 days. Do it for 30 days. You're going to invest $15 in your business. And then connect with those specific people that you think are potential clients. Once they're in your network, like I said, you can invite 100 a week, 400 a month. Now, as those people start to join your network and you're posting content, they're going to see the content. But it's not just some random coworker or your family member seeing it or a friend. It's people that are potential clients. That's the difference. So use Sales Nav. It's a really, really great tool for getting really targeted in terms of your approach for developing. So in this case, it's like you're engineering your organic content so that it gets in front of your specific buyer, and then creating content and calls to action to get them to take up you on offers and get into calls with you.
Perfect. Now, I love how I geek out over software. So as soon as you mentioned TechSoup, I was smiling because I'm like, I've never heard of it. It's a new software to learn. Yeah. So we're like, ooh, I'm geeking out. Okay. So that's awesome. And it's great that for people that are just getting out, that it's free for 30 days for sales nav. So that's free. So
Yeah.
I love that because, it gives you a chance to test it out and hopefully it will give you a chance to give you more stuff like that. So that is fantastic. Now, thank you for clearing up that. I think that gives a
Okay,
lot of
good.
more clarity for people. So perfect. So diving into the next topic. You ready? Drum roll, please. Okay, not really, just figuratively. So anyway, how has following your and this is that's a different question. So long, let me take that step. What is a leadership principle that you use that has made a positive impact on your life and business? Let's go with that one first. I think that's a better one.
Okay, cool. So it's to manage your energetic state. Okay. And the
What's
way I
that?
do that, yeah. So we either feel like we have a lot of enthusiasm for the work we do, or we feel like I got to do this. I should do this. I have to do this. Okay. And, or I want to do this. I love to do this. I want to keep doing this. One second.
hmm Go for it. Always good to be hydrated. I keep encouraging my guests to do that. So,
So
yeah.
when you're managing your energetic states, there's three kind of ways to look at it. One is you're either in one of three places. You're in a negative place, you're in a neutral place where you feel at peace, or you're in an amplified, positive, enthusiastic place. And all of you know where you are right now when you're watching this. You're either in a negative place, you feel a little bit down on yourself, you don't feel as confident as you like to, you have doubts, or you feel neutral. You're like, I can go either way. It could be positive or negative, or you feel positive. My job during the day, this is the most important job I have, is to make sure that I'm going from negative to neutral to positive all the time. Because if I'm not in an amplified positive state, that I'm not enthusiastic, I'm not loving, I'm not wanting to do what I'm doing. And if I'm in a negative state, I'm shitting on myself all the time. I'm shitting, I should do this, I should do this, I should this. You're shitting other people. If you want to do it, you're in the right state. So the energetic state's really key.
Like the shoulda, woulda, coulda, that not. It's when you said it so fast, it sounded like you said something else. But it's the mental ping pong that we all play with ourselves to
Yeah.
see, are we good enough? And I keep telling everybody, including my clients, you are good enough. My students, I'm telling you, you are good enough because you got the education, you got the experience, you got the knowledge. Now you just have to go out there and build a business. And I think that's where most people are scared of. They're scared of building it because once they build it, then what do? You know what I mean? That's why they play those mental ping pongs because they have all those back end questions. But we're not going to worry about addressing that here at this time. That may be a call with you that you can talk to them about. That maybe they can talk to you about that on the call. But
I'd love to talk a bit more about that if you're okay with it.
sure. Oh yeah. If you really want to, we have time for it.
Okay.
I didn't know it wasn't part of our questions, but I'm okay with it.
So if you think of being in a negative state, what that does is it draws out a timeline for you, because your behaviors, your perceptions, and your actions, like all of that is already predetermined. Now you have free will, so you're going to navigate that journey, but it's going to be based on that negative state. And what I'm saying is that if you can allow those fears to be, you can let go of them energetically. And I have a deep process where I take people into a trance. I just did it actually before this call. And I get to someone in a deep trance and they're able to let go of that fear, let go of that past. Then you're not carrying the past into the future. And if you're not doing that, guess what happens? You're in a new timeline. Yeah. And that's why it's so important to amplify positive states, because that creates that new timeline. But what happens for a lot of people is that the fear, the anxiety, the worry that they have, they're in the deep, deep energetic centers near the stomach and below the solar plexus. And it's just physical places in the body where we hold those emotions. And you can feel them throughout the day. Once in a while, you might feel them, or you go to do something and you feel the fear. And you know that saying, feel the fear and do it anyway? I don't believe in that. I believe in feel the fear, accept it energetically, let it go. And once you do, and it dissolves, it no longer has power over you. No longer has power over you. Guess what takes over? The heart. And when the heart takes over and you feel appreciation, you feel good about yourself, you're doing different things, perceptions, behaviors change, and guess what happens? So does your timeline, which means your future is a new future. So anyways, I just thought I'd mention that because I talk a
No,
lot about that on my YouTube channel.
brilliant. No, I think and I think it's important that we address the fear and anxiety a little bit, and especially with the mental ping pong that people play. So many people play that mental ping pong. I done it myself. My students used to sit there, have been saying to me the last month, it's like, because I've been working them for 8 months and I didn't launch my coaching business until November of 2020. And they're like, where have you been all my life? And we're like, playing mental ping pong? Seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the truth.
Yeah.
Because am I good enough? Are the students are going to be there? And here's the
Right.
thing. There's an old phrase, and it still rings true. When the student is ready, the teacher will show. Well, guess
Yeah.
what? I'm going to add to that. When the students are ready, not only is the teacher going to show, but the teacher's going to step out and be able to give them what the students need, because they'll be equipped to be able to do that and handle it at that time.
At that
But
time.
does that make sense? I mean, I hope I phrased it right, but that's
Yeah.
just my take on it. I mean, you can take it for whatever anyone's worth. I'm sure people are gonna butcher that one at some point in life, but this is the way it goes. But let's get back to our topics, because you bring up some really good points, and I think that's where a lot of stomach issues and a lot of gut issues come from, when people are dealing with anxiety and their
Yep.
mental ping pong. It's really just simply making a decision. Once you make that decision and learn to figure out what action steps you need to take to achieve it, it will break, and you break it down so it's simple and not overwhelming. It's going to make things so much smoother. I don't know if you agree to that, but that's what I teach. Is you do have to take action, but it's how you take action, and you do have to address the issues behind it. So I do a lot of mindset as well as a lot of action steps. Does that make sense? So
Well,
yeah,
I'll share my experience. So you got to
sure.
remember, Mary, I've tried a lot of different things, and I shared just a few, like lead generation things. I've tried so many other things, and over the last, I want to say 18 months, probably just prior to COVID, maybe 2 years, I noticed things that were working that I had set up for years, but all of a sudden now they were working, and I was like, the only thing that changed was me. None of the
Right.
mechanics, none of the moving parts, none of the software changed, just me. So I'm a big believer is that if you have fear, if you have anxiety, if you have worry, if you can address that first, and it's like this, if you think of the fear as a part of you, like a little baby that's crying, it just wants your attention. If you can give it that attention, and again, you have to go deep in the unconscious, get into trance, something I do with clients. You go into this place where you feel more like space and energy and less like your body. What happens is now you can make changes to the energy. And if you can just accept that little, like I said, it's like as a metaphor, a crying baby, and give it lots of love and attention in the meditation, what happens is it goes away. And when it goes away, now the fear's gone. Well, guess what happens? As soon as the fear is gone, the energy rises up to the heart and your heart feels full. Now it's easy to take action. You'll do it without forcing, without shitting on yourself. You just do it.
That's awesome. No, good
Awesome.
good way of closing that topic, because
Cool.
it's an important one to address. But which brings me to my next question, and slightly off topic, but it does relate to the back to purposes. How has following your purpose and passion posit- positively impacted your business?
So it goes back to what I was saying earlier, Marie. It makes things easier. I don't wake up dreading work because I know what that feels like. When I used to work as an engineer and have like a lot, like 30 people on the team, and like stress as soon as they went in the office and 100 emails a day, I dreaded going in.
Hmm.
So by following my heart and what I love to do, my joy, I almost never say I should do this. I almost never say I have to do this. It's
You,
almost always I want to do this and then I do it. And it
cool.
doesn't matter to some other person looking at me, they'd be like, that's a lot of work. And I'll be like, but I want to do this. That's why I'm here.
Right.
So I feel very aligned to my work.
And that's important, and I think that's a good point, is if you're going to market your business, because let's face it, most people know their content, know what their business is, and they're really passionate about what they do. Marketing is where a lot of people go in and dread. And here's the thing, you have to keep that pipeline of content of people and leads full. Otherwise, your business goes flat. Wouldn't you
Yeah.
agree? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
going to bring us to another question, and that is, what is one profit strategy that you've used that has worked well for your business?
I love it. So you talked about offers at the very beginning. And so the answer to that question is having a very clear and compelling offer. Now, what do I mean by an offer? So I have a sales letter for this context on my website. That's a one pager, and it's basically an offer. And it's like, here's what I've got, here's who this is for, and then here's what I want you to do next. I mean, there's a bit more to that, but that's basically what it is. And at the very end, when it's like, here, what I want you to do next, there's a link to my calendar, and then people can book time in my calendar, qualify themselves by using those questions I talked about at the very beginning, and then book a call. And that sales letter has generated 1,000 appointments over the last 4 years. So I know that having a clear and compelling offer is the key, because once, and this is where I think a lot of people struggle, is like, well, but I offer this, and I offer this, and I offer this, and I'm this. I'm like, that's true, you do. And you can have different offers. I have 2-3 different offers. But if you can just get your primary offer very clear, like, and very clearly figure out, okay, what is the journey that my client's taking, and what's the first step that I help them with? That's what your offer solves, is that problem, that need in the marketplace. And you can build an offer like that and then send people to it from LinkedIn, social media, wherever, and then have people book calls. Then you know that all you got to do is keep sending people to that offer. You already wrote the page. You don't need to change it or add some more text or change the design. Like mine is like I said, I've been using it for 4 years. It's changed very, very minutely over the years. I've added certain things because I know that, for example, if I put the pricing in and the pricing is way too high, I get less calls. But if I put in the pricing and I say that this service starts at $1,000 a month, and we do have a service that starts at $1,000 a month and goes up from there, then I will get more calls. So that's what I tested that, and I realized, oh, the pricing's important, right? So I have a client, she has a range of, 1,000 to 30,000 for her services. And I'm like, we got to get rid of that. She was getting nothing. And I said, just put in that starts at, what's your lowest price? She said $997. She sold 2 courses that she helps her clients develop groups and work with groups, 2 at 2,000 in 3 weeks, because we made that change. Because
Perfect.
people realize, right, the pricing's important, but let's start with where the lowest is and then up from there. And you will have some people that want pay more. I'm just saying is that you'll get more calls. Number 2, another big difference that I found is made a huge difference in an offer is that if you can put in a guarantee. Now, this requires a degree of confidence in your ability to deliver, and that the client have some responsibility. So I have a conditional guarantee right in the offer where it says, basically, I'll give you your money back within 30 days if you're not thrilled, but this is what I want you to do. I want you to do this worksheet. I want you to show up to the calls. You have to do something. If you do nothing and want your money back, it's not going to work. You shouldn't even be paying me to begin with. So that's what is really important, to having a very clear and compelling offer. And that has worked. That one profit strategy has worked for the last 4 years, and it will continue to work. And I actually write the copy for other people for their offer, so then they can do the same thing.
No, that's brilliant, and it's really true. It's all about how you package and present your offer. It's going, and it's all about how do you. It's that's going to what is what going to attract your ideal clients as well, and it's good that you said attract the lowest price first. I was thinking my main package is 1995 for my virtual event agency, and then
That's where you start.
yeah, but and it says starting, and it always clearly says on the website starting at, and then they can customize it and add other pieces to it, like the marketing or the landing pages or the video editing if they prefer, because and the first 2 pieces are already in there. So, and that's what I'm saying is I think that's very important on how you package it. So, yeah, and that was one of the I was trying to. That was the point I was trying to drive at with our audience today is that you really need to be clear on how you package your message, your pricing, your message. Everything needs to be very crystal clear. So otherwise, When you do, like you said, when people have too many offers, it's very confusing. So,
And a
um,
confused person always says no, which
yep,
means no appointments.
exactly, and no sales. So there you go. So great answer to that one. So now that we've got that one covered, what is your greatest challenge in your business, and and I have another question that's a follow-up question if we have time
Sure.
for that. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So the main thing is the main challenge that we've had is that marketing on LinkedIn for LinkedIn lead services is like the most competitive, and everyone gets the messages. I get them too. Like you would think they wouldn't send them to me, but they don't read my profile. They're just like, oh, this guy's a consultant. Let's send him lead generation services. And I have clients that are getting, as soon as we started working with you, they'll say, I started getting these messages about LinkedIn lead generation services. I'm like, it's the most popular service on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is that there's competition is fierce, and no one believes the promise that they can get leads anymore. So that has been the biggest challenge for us. And it was a couple of years ago, I was like, I don't even know if I can market on LinkedIn anymore. But we've found ways to get around that. And I'll share
Cool.
one. I won't share all the
Good.
ways. One is instead of having people actually go out and make an offer that goes directly to, hey, did you want to see if we can generate some leads for you? We invite people, our clients, to our podcast. We have a conversation with them. On the conversation, I interview them. At the end, a lot of people say to me, what do you actually do? I tell them, I'd like to have a follow-up call. And I've gotten clients that way. So that's just one of a number of ways that we use LinkedIn because our specific industry competition is so fierce.
That is impressive. I have a question for you. It
Shoot.
may be, I don't know if we'll have time because we got like 4 minutes left. So I was wondering, when you're doing the lead generation, this is kind of like a following up from that. In one of their previous comments, do you one of the things I hear constantly is diagnosing and prescribing. So, where on that process some people say you could do that on LinkedIn and the messaging when you're doing the lead generation. Some people say that you have to do that on the discovery call. And I was going to ask you, where do you fit that in? What part of your lead generation process do you diagnose and prescribe to your potential clients?
When you say
So,
diagnose, you mean what is the problem or the need they have?
correct. Diagnosing the problem and finding out the need,
Ah,
and then being able to give them a prescription. Do you do that in your calls, or do you do that in your lead generation? I was just curious. And
I
then we
got
do
a
have to.
perfect example for you because I just talked to a guy yesterday and we were talking about this.
Cool.
So the copy is written so that the need is implied.
Okay.
You don't even have to say, do you need leads? Like you see stuff like that, but you don't have to do that. I'll give you an example because I talked to a guy yesterday about this that was in Bali. The problem his clients have is that their leadership group is not working. And so the need is, and I'm going to use a headline here, that the client would say, I want to get my leadership group working better. So what's the need? The need is I need harmony. I need my everyone engaged. I need everyone working smoothly, more efficiently. That's the need. But the headline implies it by saying, hey, did you want to see if we can get your leadership group working and harmonizing better? Question mark. The need is
Mhm.
implied in the question itself or in the copy. That's how I do it. So that when they get on the call, I'm only dealing with people that already know have the need that I solve. Um,
Perfect.
and I do also market on YouTube to a totally different service. We're talking about the meditation the exact same way, except I don't do it in the copy. I say words in the videos that imply the need, and then I ask people if they want to talk with me. So it's always in the words or the text that implies the need, not on the call, because otherwise you're going to be talking to a lot of people that are going to waste a lot of your time.
Right. I had the T-shirt in that closet right now. Just saying, got learned from
Everyone has.
experience.
Everyone
That's why I've
has.
scaled back because I'm only focusing on people I'm really wanting to work with.
That's right.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's because like you said, you want to be able to do that. So we are in the last minute of the day. So do
Cool.
you have a quick uh, gift? One
Yeah.
quick action step, and that people could do, and then to build their list, and then or lead in the lead generation department, and then one lead magnet, and then I gotta close out the show.
Cool. So you'll see right below, it says my name and then stevemartile.com.
Only you and I are going to see that. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, stevemartile.com. So I'll spell it for you. So it's Steve, MARTILE.com. If you go there, I will give you for free my client conversion email. It's a fill in the blank email template. It's booked 241 calls, but it's way over 1,000 now. I haven't updated that. It says that on their page, though, 240 calls. So you never have to worry where to find your next paying client. What I recommend you do is you enter your name and information there, you download it, and then when you get it, go out and rewrite it. You'll have to rewrite maybe 5 or 10% of it and send it out to a few people in groups on LinkedIn. And then let me know how it goes. Just hit reply to the email. Let me know how it goes.
I actually downloaded it and had a call with Steve, and we had some really good clarity. So thank you for that. I much appreciate it. So encourage you guys to grab that script. I'm actually going to be working that into my magic list of things,
Yes.
toolboxes. So anyway, we are, oh my gosh, cannot believe we're at the end of the show. You've been such a great guest. I really want to thank Steve Martel for being here and talking about how to create and craft your irresistible offers. So many juicy tips. Do listen to the replay. You will be very grateful that you did. And oh my gosh, so many great tips to share for our audience to grow their business on their Marketing Mindset Mastery Radio Show. And do take advantage of his offer, which is the go to Steve Martin, and it's Steve, not Martin, Steve Martel, MARTILE.com, making sure I got that right because, oh my gosh, that's a tongue twister. So for me, and do grab that offer. We'll be posting it on the YouTube and other places as well. So please go check that out. And you can also grab it on the W4Y.com radio station page. You'll be glad you took advantage of his gift. And if you can, book a call with him. So anyway, I'll definitely going to have another amazing guest show on the show next week. So they will be providing more tips on how to set up your business for success. So, and also they're going to be talking about making your marketing and mindset work for you. So we stream live every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern right here in W4CY.com. So until next time, this is Marie Mason saying bye for now with the Marketing Mindset Mastery Radio Show that ends this show for this week. Bye now. Have a great week. Say bye to Steve.
Go to our radio page and check out the gifts from our speakers. We'll see you next time on Marketing Mindset Mastery with your host, Marie Mason.
Hey, Rebel.